So, Social Security, Social Security system is broken. You don't need me to tell you that. You already know that. What you don't know is how broken it really is. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Is there time to save it? Well, I think there might be, but for those of us who are on Social Security retirement benefits, the future looks pretty daunting. Unless Congress steps up and starts making changes, which, as you well know, Congress is not really apt to do, we might be looking at a serious reduction in benefits. So let's talk about that. So thank you very much. You are hanging out with Popsy Guy here on the beach. It's school vacation week somewhere here down in the south. Everybody and their brother and their sister and their kids are here at the beach. And Popsy Guy's here at the beach as well. So before I get into the video, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the response to my last video. The one about should you, I'm not going to buy a new car. I think last count, pretty close to 17,000 views, which is mind-blowing for me. I think my biggest video view from a view standpoint before that was about 1,900. So thank you very much. And you know what I really enjoyed, and I hope you do this? Yeah, the subscriber count has gone up a little bit, which is awesome. Subscribe if you like the channel. But it's the comments in the community and the conversation that I'm having with you folks and that you're having with each other. That's exactly why I started this channel. They're uplifting, they're encouraging. People are sharing different ideas, different opinions. It's the public square. It's the First Amendment in full view. So I would just want to say thank you for that. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button. It'll help the algorithm and help this channel continue to grow. All right, so Social Security is scheduled to run out of money in 2035. Now, don't get nervous if you're receiving Social Security, whether it's disability income, retirement income, supplemental Social Security, or supplemental income. The money is not going to run dry and people are not going to get paid. What will happen is there'll be a reduction in benefits. Right now, the number is being tossed around somewhere around 20–25% reduction in the benefit you're receiving now or that you were scheduled to receive, just to keep the system going. And how that is calculated, as you well know, is Social Security is all money collected from payroll taxes. Now, there's a very famous man right now who owns a car company and sends rockets up into the sky who had claimed that this system, the Social Security system, is a Ponzi scheme. Oh boy, did he got crucified in the press saying, how can you say that? That is not true. Well, he's not far from being true because the money that is being collected is being paid out to the next people in line, which is the true definition of a Ponzi scheme. And once the money runs out, then everybody gets nothing. There's no more money to be paid out. And another very famous politician back in the 90s actually said during a presidential debate, when Social Security again was a big topic of discussion, he looked the American people in the face and said, don't worry about Social Security. And the reason you don't have to worry about Social Security is it's a lockbox with your name on it, so nobody's going to touch it. The money that goes into your account is your money. It's a lockbox. That was a flat out lie because that's not true. There's not a lockbox with John Smith somewhere in the Social Security Administration headquarters, and then when John Smith decides he's going to take his money out, they go to his lockbox and take his money out. That's not how it works. The money is collected from payroll taxes. So here's the problem. If more and more people are not working and more people are retiring, then the number of people supporting those who are retired, the workers supporting the retirees, that's going to get out of balance. Whew, that was a good wave. That almost took me out. Well, it's beautiful here, but I digress. So there's the problem. The problem is that we've got a shrinking workforce and a growing retired population. The other thing I wanted to share with you, and I know you've heard this on the news as well, is that there's discussion on Capitol Hill about eliminating taxes on Social Security, which I'm all for. And I think most of my viewers and folks in this community would agree that we've already paid taxes, payroll taxes, to fund the Social Security benefit that we were promised. This is not a welfare program. This is money that was put aside and supposedly invested on our behalf, actuarially speaking. It'll be paid back to us over our lifetime. Well, the problem is that the income tax on Social Security income was a law that was put in the 1983 Social Security Amendment under then current President Ronald Reagan. Because even back in 1983, the alarm horns were sounding that Social Security is going to run out of money. We need to do something about it. So the administration said, this is what we'll do. We will tax current beneficiaries of Social Security up to a certain amount of their earnings will be added into their taxable income. So it's not a tax on the money, it's a percentage of the money, in this case 50% of your Social Security income would be added to your taxable income. That's how your tax bill would be calculated for that year. And the theory was that only a certain amount of people would be hit by that, but it would help fund the Social Security Administration's promises to future retirees. There's two problems with that. One is that it was an arbitrary number, and number two, and the biggest problem, is that it is not indexed for inflation. Now, what does that mean? It means that in 1983, I believe it was $44,000. I could be wrong. That's the law today. But in 1983, if you made more than $44,000, then 50% of the income that you received from Social Security would be added into your income. Therefore, your tax would be higher. And that was a way for the administration to continually fund the looming deficit in Social Security. You know what the problem, as I just said, was? That was not indexed for inflation. Do you know how much, if you were earning $44,000 in 1983, how much that would be worth in today's $2,025? Well, I happen to have the number right here. I'm so glad you asked. I don't want to misquote because I can do the math, but I wanted to make sure you knew what it was. It is $139,421. So think about that for a minute. So if you were earning $44,000 in 1983, it would be the equivalent of earning $139,421 today. And under the current guidelines, how many retirees on Social Security are earning that kind of money? Not many. So you can see what the administrations have been doing. And President Clinton in 1993 added an 85% tax. So again, it's $32,000 to $44,000 if you're married filing jointly. If it's $25,000 to $32,000. Those are the thresholds that will determine whether or not your Social Security income will be taxed at those levels. The 50% level was implemented in 1983. The 85% level was implemented in 1993. Again, Congress had an opportunity to index it for inflation, but they chose not to. It's not that they didn't know what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. By not indexing that number for inflation, it would grab and put in the net more and more Social Security recipients who would owe income tax on their Social Security, which then would help fund the future Social Security deficit. Devious, don't you think? I think that's extremely devious. So that's something to consider, is that unless those numbers are indexed for inflation, then we will continually have more and more people working because Social Security income is not enough. And if they didn't plan correctly, and I'm not judging, just saying, with the cost of living going through the roof today, even people who planned their whole lives to successfully retire are struggling trying to maintain with the cost of living. That is the truth. That is not a statement of opinion. That's just the way it is. Those with more money are less impacted, but they are still impacted. But most of the country is not in that top echelon of having more money. Most of this country is in the echelon that they don't have a lot of money. So they're relying on Social Security, and they're allowed to work. Let me talk about this real quick. and because I've done a couple of videos on should you retire at 62. If you retire at 62, obviously you're taking an advance on your Social Security benefits. So your reduction is about 30%. If you waited for your normal retirement age of 67, you'd get 30% more than you would at 62. It's actuarial. It's not a punishment. It's just figuring out that the average lifespan of a retiree is this. The more they wait until they receive that money, they're going to get more every month because you're that much closer to death. And what happens when Social Security recipients die? The money stops. It doesn't go to a beneficiary. It doesn't continue on. That money stops. So the actuaries are betting that if you wait until 67 or 70, that you're going to collect a higher monthly benefit. But when you die earlier than you thought you would die, they keep the money. It's kind of a calculated gamble. That's why I've always said actuaries make the most money in the insurance companies. But anyway, let me get back to that point about working and drawing on Social Security. Right now, if you draw Social Security from 62 to your normal retirement age, you're capped on the amount of money that you can earn and still collect Social Security benefits without some type of penalty. And the penalty could be a reduction in benefits. It could be a straight line penalty of you didn't tell us you were going to make this money, so we're going to tax or penalize you. And that right now is changed. Keep an eye on that. So this is to my community who has decided, I'm going to take Social Security early and I'm going to work. So right now in 2025, I believe you can earn $1,960 a month, or somewhere around $23,921. Don't quote me on that. Per year, in addition to your Social Security benefits, before you would have to pay Social Security back. I said, make sure you understood the difference. Before you would have to pay Social Security back. Now, when you make that $23,000 and you add that to your Social Security benefit, that's your taxable income. If you are filing as a single, you can make anywhere from $25,000 to $32,000 before you end up paying income tax on your Social Security. If you are a married couple and you make anywhere from $32,000 to $44,000, you'll also have a tax due, or part of your Social Security amount will be added back into your taxable income. You know why? To help fund the Social Security system. See where I'm going with this? They want you to work, but they don't want you to make too much money. But when you make too much money, that money is going to be turned around and sent back to the Social Security Administration to fund the future liability. But they're also going to penalize you for working if you're not earning enough between Social Security and your part-time job to make a living. It's frustrating. I get it. And that's why I did the video on new cars. Man, I'd love to be driving around a brand new car, $55,000, smelling the leather. That would be awesome. Can't do it. Can't do it because number one, I'm not going to go in debt to do it. And number two is in that video, I said these cars are not worth 50 grand. But even if they were, you've got to make cuts someplace. So there's one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and it's slipping my mind because my cheese done slip off my cracker. It has to do with what's going on right now in the Social Security Administration with the cuts, with the levels of service that people are starting to be impacted by. Oh, this is what thank you. So when we were working, if you're not working anymore, you'll remember this. If you're working, you can track this. Your income was being taxed for FICA, right, which is payroll taxes. But every year, the amount of money that you earned that would be subject to the Social Security tax increased. And I challenge you to go ahead on ssa.gov. I've already encouraged you to log in and create your own account. Pull your Social Security benefit statement and your earnings history, and it'll show you what years the actual amount or the limit of money that you were earning would be subject to Social Security or to FICA taxes. It goes up. It doesn't go up every year, but it goes up. So what that's saying is that, and it will, I think, happen, this is my guess, at some point there will be no limit. It doesn't matter how much money you make, you're going to pay Social Security or FICA taxes. Again, that's the only way to basically reduce the deficit between the amount of money people are looking to draw and the amount of money that this organization actually has. So here's the good news. The good news is it's only money, right? You can't take it with you. We do, and I got a little flack for saying that we live in the best country in the world in my last video, but I stand by that. I really do. It doesn't matter where you're watching this video from. If you are part of first world country, and a rich first world country like this country, we're blessed. We have running water. We have clean clothes. We have a box in the kitchen full of food that we just open the handle, and there it is. So all of the things that we're talking about, I really believe, for the majority of people, are what I call first world problems. Okay, so it turns out it's not your device when the audio just cut off like that. It's Popsy Guy. Didn't have his microphone fully charged, so it just abruptly cut off. I'm not even sure what I was saying, but it looked pretty good. I do remember just asking for you to continue to support the channel. I so appreciate what you've done up to this point. Just share, like, comment, do all those great things to help the algorithm. And we'll get this Hanging Out with Popsy Guy channel blowing up and including more and more folks in our community. Until the next one, you guys have a great day.